name's Tom Bresson with the Urban Farmer Store, and we're going to show a more complex valve manifold. Just as our gardens are more complex than can be operated sometimes by a single valve. We might have ornamentals that are established and large, that need infrequent watering, and as opposed to annuals or vegetables that need more frequent watering and need to be on different valves to do that. So I'm going to show you how, by assembling two valves, how we might do that. First of all, we have to turn off the house water, which will allow us to temporarily remove our hose bib. We're going to replace this hose bib, re-Teflon it. But before we do that, we're going to put in a nipple, a T, another nipple, and a gate valve. This gate valve will isolate the irrigation system from the house water in case something sticks on or we have to shut it off to finish the project or add on. So basically, with pipe thread parts, we have to Teflon the male fitting. So the end of this nipple, I will do about 4 or 5 wraps of Teflon and retighten it in here. Okay, before I tighten it any further, I'm going to Teflon and reinstall the hose bib. Now we have a hose. We didn't ever want to lose our hose bib because there's reasons for it. And we'll just tighten this down to get rid of any chance of leaking and for it to get to a tightened part where it's stable. So we'll want to end up like this. If we can, it's better to put the manifold this way because the weight of the manifold actually tightens these threads, and it's also good to support it at the end. But now we can shut this off, turn our house water back on, and then work to complete our manifold. I'm going to show you a simple new manifold, and it's quite nice because it gives you unions. There's already the beginning nipple on here. But this allows us to attach a manifold with two valves. And then if we only have 2 valves, we can cap it. We can take off that cap and add to this manifold. But having it on a branch line means that when we install an automatic timer, the timer knows to turn on one valve separate from the other. So now we can use anti-siphon valves. In places of harsh winters, we have to make sure they're well drained. Otherwise, they can freeze and crack. But what we do is use one of the same nipples here. With these manifold parts, I don't need to Teflon them. We'll get to Tefloning again when we get past this. So I've installed an anti-siphon valve. An anti-siphon valve has 2 parts. It has the wires for a 24-volt wire to carry a signal to the solenoid. And on the output side, it has an anti-siphon, which allows us to prevent backflow into the house if there's a loss of pressure. And then I can install a second one as well. Or, if I had a very large system, I could keep on installing valves. This one already has a larger filter and pressure regulator that can be used for a large, nice drip system. And with these unions, it's very easy to, once I get them hand tightened, I usually just take the wrench and turn them about that much. The nice thing about it, I can turn on this water now and see that I don't have any leaks. I don't have to either worry about it or keep installing if I need to do some adjustments. So now I can turn this back on, these will shut down, and we're ready to go. Now that we've attached a couple valves, we can now wire up the valves. It's all 24 volts from the moment we plug it into the wall, and this gets wired to the 24 volt terminals on the clock. We're running at 24 volts. This would be mounted, this is an indoor clock, would be mounted maybe in a shed, a garage, or a utility room adjacent to where the water source is. Outside, we have basically the 4 wires to connect. We've taken 2 of them, one from each valve, and we're going to connect those to the common wire. The common wire is in the bundle, and it's industry standard to use white for common. So we're going to take 1 wire from each valve. And if there's 4 valves here, we would have 1 wire from all 4. We're going to use a wire nut that looks like a traditional wire nut that holds our electrical wires together, but it has silicone in it. And we just push it in and twist it, and you can kind of see the silicone exuding from that. So it both holds our wires together and makes them waterproof. So now we have 2 wires left, 1 from each. And they will get their own color, and this use red and blue. And we're going to pretend the green and yellow are there just in case we decide to add more valves at the end of our manifold. And it'll save us from having to rewire from clock to valves again. And each one of these will connect to one of the wires from there. At the other end, we have a clock. And this could be just inside the wall, or it could be hundreds of feet away. And if you look at the wire here, there's a common terminal, there's a 1 and 2. So when they come in here, we're going to use the red, blue, and white. White is going to go to the common, and red and blue will get its own valve number, 1 and 2. So when I do turn on valve 1, it will operate differently than 2. So 1 might be shady and sunny, 1 might be annuals, which grow very fast, and perennials, which grow slower. Might be stuff in potting soil, which dries out faster, some in heavier soil, or it might even be a sprinkler system. We could attach this to our valve like a sprinkler would be with a pipe coming down. Then we could glue out a valve coming, and then using swing joints like this, attach our sprinklers and adjust them to grade. And to our controller or timer, we can install weather sensors. Some are just to measure rainfall, and when adequate rainfall comes, they shut off the system until it dries out. This one's a little more sophisticated. It takes solar radiation, which is the length of day, a big factor on plant water needs, and temperature, which is another secondary factor. And these now can adjust our controller and have it so it doesn't rain, it doesn't water when it's raining, or it doesn't overwater in the spring and fall when the days are shorter. Hi, again, thanks for watching. My name's Tom Bresson. I'm with the Urban Farmers Store, and you've been watching a segment on valve assembly, wiring, and irrigation timers.